we here fixing to start framing on another one. This is when we put the footings in probably a couple, 3 weeks ago. Block mason's finished up about a week ago. Of course, we were tied up on another one, couldn't get here till today. So this is one we're building for a customer. It's going to be a rental. Lot's pretty bad on this one, I gotta admit. The grade is pretty steep. Pretty flat in the back of this lot, but the problem was the soils were bad. So to get the septic tank in, I had to push this house way up the hill. It would have been better if we could have set it back down the hill a little further. But got the foundation in. It looks a little high. If it had been mine personally, I probably would have put a basement under it. Got a lot of fill to put in the garage right here. Of course, we're going to frame the house, get all the weight on it before we do all this fill. We got steel in the footings, but even with that, got steel in the foundation, but putting this much fill in something scares me. Not to mention, it needs plenty of time to set and settle and do everything. So we're gonna get the house framed up on it, get some weight on it, fill it up, and then do the concrete toward the concrete floor on the garage toward the very last. But I'll give you a view of the foundation so you know what I'm talking about. You see it here. This is inside the garage, so you can see it's 5-6 feet of fill on that corner. Of course, we're gonna put some piers in the middle of it and steel all through it. Hopefully, won't have an issue. Like I said, not the greatest lot in the world. Sometimes you deal with what you got to deal with. Here you can see the back side of it, how high it is on the back wall. And just for reference, maybe I stand right here beside it. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall, and with boots on, I'm probably pushing, close to 6 feet tall here. And you can see me here. We're almost 8 feet probably to the top of this thing. So, like I said, a little extreme, but you either do this or you have a lot you do that can do nothing well. So, but luckily the other two, he's got 2 more here up that way, and they're pretty flat lots. So this is the worst one, and we're gonna do what we have to make it work. So we're fixing to get going on the framing right here. What y'all got? Look, all that pressure treated 2x6 right there is going to be the outside upstairs walls. So I don't know. Did you send some pressure treated 2 before?
That's not for the plates?
No, that's it. Well, no, that's for the plates, because what am I thinking? I'm thinking like it's on a slab. It's yeah, that's for the plates. Oh, why ain't sent 2x6 for that? I guess go ahead and get the seal sealer. Get the staple gun, get the seal sealer. Slap it on it. Huh? Well, somebody can start putting that on, and we'll start popping lines. So let me just pull in 6 on them corners and pop it, and then we'll pop. You know what? You may ought to get the 100-foot tapes out and check the measurements on everything before we even start popping. Make sure that foundation's right. All right, we'll get set up and get going here. Get my nail pouch on. Here you can see we're checking those dimensions, starting to check the dimensions on the foundation, make sure all the walls are the right length, all the little offsets are in the right place, everything on it. That's the kind of the first step before you start framing. That's a long step for me. And once you get that done, you can start popping lines and getting your parallels marked, 2 parallel lines marked across the front and the back. You see that's what the guys are doing there. Once they get that done, you can then you can pull your square. All right, let's check that one. I ain't stepping back across that hole. Wind up that piece of rebar at my hind end. Fall down in that thing. And that's what Seth and Mario are doing here, checking the diagonal. Once you get, you know, that first mark, which we did on that far right-hand corner, we made our 6-inch mark in off the wall, and we just use that to pull our square across, pull our diagonal across the foundation to the far corner. Once that establishes the back left corner, and then you can just pull everything off of it, those 2 corners to make sure everything's good and square. And then once that's down, you can see here, you just start the laying your plates. You put your seal sealer on your green plate. We just take a slap stapler and staple that to the green plate, and then start running your green plates. I'll show you what we got going on. We get the floor joist in now. Got all the rim boards up and around. Starting to get them in. Got our girder in. You can see what we've done here. I'll show you out here on these marks. What we've done is we've started on this side with our layouts. So everything lays out on this one right to left. We're just pulled quarters that way. And I'll show you why. Right here on my tape, you see we got quarters pulled on each one of these. I'll show you the reason why. So a joist sits on this side of that mark. That's where your joist would be. So when you hook and you come down here where an 8-foot is going to hit, you see it's going to hit the center of that joist. And that's the reason you pull those quarters. And now we'll lay walls, ceiling joist, everything out the same way. So everything will stack. So if you got a joist here, you'll have a stud here, you'll have a ceiling joist there, and then your rack will set beside the ceiling joist. That's the whole purpose. Now these will, because we're lapping them in the centers, they're nailing those on the side of the joist. On one side, these are going to have to sit opposite the X, but that's just because we're lapping them in the middle to keep from having to cut each one of them to fit each other. Just a lot easier, a lot faster. And one thing I didn't mention when I was talking there was the reason for stacking everything. Number one, it's just stronger. If everything's stacked over a solid member, you just get more strength. But another thing it does, it eliminates laying everything out so many times. You know, once you get your studs stood up, you know your ceiling joists are going to stack straight over your studs, so you don't have to lay out again for your ceiling joists. And it just eliminates another step in the process, makes you a little faster. But here you can see the guys putting those floor joists in, and you notice how quick it goes. Yeah, this is sped up, but it did. It did go in really fast. And the part of the reason is, we've got that girder dropped in the middle, which allows you not to have to cut all those joists. Again, this eliminates the process, eliminates the step, speeds up the process. But and then here you can see the guys starting to lay the subfloor. And you can see that glue we're using there. It's a foam glue, very much like the normal spray foam. It's a different color, but it's made by Avantech actually for this flooring. And it's a really user-friendly glue, much easier to use than the old liquid nail style. But what I like most about it has eliminated our squeaks. I'm amazed at how few squeaks you get with this. I mean, it's, like I said, it's just about a total elimination. I can't think of a floor we've glued down where we've had a problem with squeaks since we started using that glue. And then here, what the guys are doing is actually putting in bridging block. You know, the span here was less than needed bridging. It didn't really need, by code, bridging wasn't required, but to put, you know, it just gives a little bit of strength to the floor to do it. So we went ahead and put some in. And here what you see is me just marking a piece of decking and cutting it. You know, we just throw these things up here and cut them in place. But the main reason I wanted to show you this was just so you can see this saw we're using. This really have fallen in love with this Milwaukee battery saw. It's been a great one. And here the guys are shooting the floor down, and you can kind of see the speed in which you go doing this. And some people may be going, "Oh, you're missing nails," but you're not. You know, if you notice all those circles on that decking, that's the stud layout or the joist layouts on it. And here we are just driving in that sheath, and that's another thing that's part of this process. You have to drive that tongue and groove together.
Right, so you got that set open up.
And as you can see, it's just as I said, that board fell and proved me wrong. But you notice here, we just popped that line. We let these ends run long, and we pop that line all the way through, and then come back and cut it all at one time. It's just faster to do that, plus you get a much straighter line.
I'm stopping right here now.
All right, we back here this morning. It's a Monday morning. Got this floor system in on Friday, so we're gonna see if we get all the walls up today. Get ready for the second floor. Hopefully we can get that accomplished. We're short one man today, so I don't know how that's gonna play out, but that's the goal anyway. So, but you can see we're got all our lines popped Friday too, so we've got all the walls laid out. And then got a little boo-boo right here. It's totally on me. Got to fix the foundation. So really irritates me when I screw up. Trying to do stuff from memory sometimes instead of looking at the plan. Get you in trouble. But that's the case. We just got to deal with it now. We'll fix it. Move on. But what's that? Nah. Second floor. I'll have to look. But I mean, it's outside, all outside walls. The inside walls are 2x4s.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It looks like you got way more 2x6.
Well, you're gonna need. You should need 28. I tell you what, you're gonna have to have. You're gonna have some longer ones for that garage that you didn't send. It's gonna take about 100-ish to do the walls up here. A little over 100, probably 120. All right, I'll give y'all a little view of how we mark all these plates. What we do, come down here and mark one. Our quarters down one side on one plate. As you can see right here, when we get to this last one, we not only mark the quarter, But we marked 16 because we're gonna cut these boards off right here. Exactly 16. Usually lumber comes a little bit long. Then we get to the end. We mark our quarter and our 16. Alright. Once that's done, you can see here also we got the edges of all these flushed up across through here. So now instead of marking 16 individual boards, we're fixing to mark all 16 at once.
Why you didn't have it?
I got a lot. Yeah, that's right, I did, didn't I? Right, there you can see we just come on up through there and pop all those lines, and that marks all of our 16-inch layouts for our stud. Pop both in again. Do what? Yeah. All right, get that 16. Right here, all these X's are about is the side the stud sets to. In other words, your stud will set flush with that red mark and over the top of that X. And here what you see is me cutting those boards off exactly 16 feet long. And the reason you do that is that'll break right on the center of a stud and allows a stud to be under all your cuts when you lay these things out that way. And here, all we're doing is starting to build those walls, cutting jacks right there to go into those headers, and guys nailing everything in. You can kind of see how when these wall assemblies go together. And of course, you see right there on Mario's that wide header, it requires 2 jacks on each side. So, but then here we are, starting to put the sheathing on. We go ahead and sheathe these walls before we stand them. But one caution I will give you in doing that is make sure that your foundation is good and level, because if your foundation's out of level and you put the sheathing on first, your walls won't be plumb. So you got to make real sure that your walls are good and level before your floor's good and level before you sheathe the walls, before you stand them, or you'll have a wall that's out of plumb. Here what you see is the guys just nailing those blocks on the edge of the band right there to keep this wall from sliding off the wall when we go to pick it up, and then or off the floor, and then putting those blocks under there just so we can get our hands up under there to pick up the wall, and even that shortest section of wall for 3 guys and the 2x6 wall, it's really heavy to try to lift. So, and then you can see as we continue on getting more of the wall stood, and how we do this one, because this is a 28-foot wall. So you see right here what we did is we tacked it all together and built it, and then pull the tacks out of it so we could stand it in sections, which makes it a whole lot easier when you don't have a bunch of guys there to pick up a long wall with the sheathing already on it like that. And what you see there is Seth just up there. He's nailing those 2 sections of walls together where they tie in right there. Here we are doing the end wall that doesn't have to have any sheathing on it, but you can see Seth, he's marking all the door layouts, the door going out into the garage there, and then they're going down through there. You can see them crowning those studs. And that's another thing we do that a lot of people don't do. We crown all our studs, making sure that all the crowns are turned the same way. It just makes the sheetrock so much better. If you get one stud with a crown going one way and another with the crown going the other, you can have some pretty bad bows in your wall. So when you're looking for a framer to frame your house, that's one question I would ask them: do you crown your studs? And right here, you can see the guys starting to nail those walls together. Seth on the bottom plate, Mario on the top plate, and they just go down through there, one on each side of the wall, nail everything together. You may be wondering what I'm doing there. Well, I'm coasting, getting me a little break in. When you get old like me, you got to take one every now and then. But I just really, there wasn't a whole lot for me to cut right here, and wasn't a whole lot in this wall, and wasn't no point in trying to drag out another gun. The time I got it drug out, they'd have the wall nailed together. So I was just doing some resting, and there you can see how much easier it is to stand these wall sections when they don't have sheathing on it and a lot of headers in it. Much lighter wall. And then we just go down through there and shoot those plates down. All right, folks, we're back on the car this morning. Day number 3. You see what we got going. Got a few walls down here to finish up. We're going to be waiting on some lumber, I'm afraid. So I guess we'll do every little thing we can do till it gets here. I guess go ahead and there ain't nothing in that one. But it runs to right here. Hey, we need to look. We need to look when we get to this one. Ain't this the one where that LVL set?
Yes.
We need to frame it. We need to put that 2-inch notch in our 3-inch notch in that thing for the difference in the floor system. Or the difference in the thickness. Pop it. Oh, you know why? Because that may have been the one. We had a measurement that was wrong. We need to check that one because there was something. And maybe we got it squared away. What's that supposed to be from there back? 2'4".
Center.
Well, that's it. I guess you want to cut this one. I guess. I don't really want to cut any of it. About ready for retirement. Ain't you, Mario?
Yeah.
These little young whippersnappers, they still got about 30 more years of it. Now, I'm ready for a lot of things, but retirement ain't one of them.
Right.
And here you see the interior walls being put together. Back to a full crew, 4 men on the crew today, so had everybody there, and really helps out when you got everybody on the job. But you can see how quick these interior walls go up to. There's not a lot in these walls, not a lot of headers. You don't have to put sheathing on them, so it just makes the interior walls a whole lot faster to assemble. And most all these walls wound up being concentrated right here in this one little area. Had a stairwell that's coming down right there where Seth's up, and and then got a little laundry room in there, and the pantry on the back side over there, but where that door's going out into the garage. So most of all the interior walls were concentrated in this one little area. And you have to kind of be careful which one you stand first. You got to pay attention. You'll have yourself where you can't build a wall. Well, fortunately, with these small walls like this, wasn't a whole lot of danger in that. But sometimes when you're doing a house, you got to kind of pay attention to how you're going to build the walls, because you can fucking have yourself locked out of one. And you notice right there that notch in that wall. What that notch is about, there's gonna LVL is gonna sit across there, right there where Seth's at. All right, we'll give you all the update. Got all the interior walls framed up, put in, little fireplace built, put in. Now we're starting to brace up, straighten walls, which is you have to do before you put your second floor on. Make sure everything's square, plumb, and straight before you go with your second floor. So that's what we're doing here. Getting up all this temporary bracing. It'll be tripping over the whole time till the second floor system's in. Yeah. Yeah, what a And if you've hung around this long throughout the video, obviously you must be enjoying it. So if you haven't already, we'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Hit the share button and also drop us some comment. We'd love to hear from you. Probably need to get one down these garage walls too, don't we? Turn this into a maze, don't it? Tripping over this mess, keep standing racing. Gotta get one down that way too, somewhere. Yeah, I'll probably stick one right through right there. One right there and then one down that wall right there. That should be enough. We might have to get one more on that wall right there about where that fireplace is at. Yeah. Do it on that back wall though, sir. Yeah, I've got to get one on that wall because that wall right there can move. Ain't got nothing holding them corners. All right, let's get the level. We'll level them corners and we'll start straightening everything. Yeah, I know we got to move this. Oh, we got to move this one. I know this has got to come in a bunch. All right, things got to come in. Yeah, we may have to. If he's no, somebody else get with him right there. It'll probably move. You're getting close. Whoop. Let off of it just a touch. Back to me. Back. Whoop. Back to me just a tad. Whoop. Shoot it right there. Then nail this to that. That thing's flopping. It's already. Shoot it. All right. It says it can go out, in just a touch. I mean, just a little bit. Right there. All right. Which one now? We want to eyeball. Yeah, we better get up there and just look at that because that thing's. I think this is plumb because we got that small brace on the other end. Yeah, hey, this can be shot right here. It's plumb. Yeah, we got a small one on that end. Yeah, that one right there is good. This one's gonna come back this way just a little bit. Oh, right there. Good. Let off of it just a little bit, Edward. Right there. We want to get up there and sight them, or hold on, we catch this corner. I don't know, I'm about to just sight the rest of them. Eyeball them or string line them on. Here, let me look. Let me get up there and look down it. All right, you close right there. All right, shoot it right there. Check the plumb on that wall now. Dead up. All right, let's see. I guess we can move around. Catch. Did we ever shoot this one? Yeah, we shot that one already, haven't we?